Gorillas. They've been one of the most beloved zoo animals for over a century. We obviously share a lot of the same physical traits and a lot of the same behaviors, so we have this unique connection that draws us to them time and time again. Over the years, zoos have put a lot of effort into creating exhibits that not only showcase these incredible animals, but also provide them with environments that meet their complex needs. So with that in mind, I put together a list of the top 10 best gorilla exhibits I've ever seen. Just a heads up, I am not a gorilla expert, but I evaluated everything based on what I've learned over the years from other zoo enthusiasts and their criticisms. From aesthetically pleasing design, to the amount of space that was given and how well they are encouraged to exhibit their natural behaviors. So let's begin with number 10. Had this full list been made 15 years ago, I don't think Jacksonville would even deserve a mention. This was suitable for more like a gazelle or a groundhog, not any kind of primate, that's for sure. But a few years later, the vegetation started to come in. Eventually, the zoo added what appears to be accessible palm trees, and in 2018, they revamped this entire area completely to allow every primate in the African forest attraction to use overhead tunnels that lead to this 40-foot tall kapok tree. They all rotate, so you never know what you'll find in this habitat. So that's pretty good, but it gets better. I visited twice and could never really confirm it, but according to Google Earth, they have a second yard, which makes sense since they reportedly have somewhere around 13 gorillas. But I'm pretty sure that this one is 100% private, which has to make it one of the best behind-the-scenes exhibits for any species ever. Hopefully someone can confirm that I am telling the truth. Jacksonville just squeezed in for its size, but I think the main yard could still use some creativity, more plants, and more climbing structures to liven up the place just a little more. Number 9. The Detroit Zoo's Great Apes of Harambe was really difficult to place, and as I'm recording this, I still don't really know where it belongs. The campus is composed of also 2 habitats, but 2 is all you need when your combined range is larger than most elephant exhibits. When these 2 fields are together, they come out to be around over 2¼ acres, making it the largest ape facility on this list. I think even the indoor pavilions are impressive in size, and overall, the rotating chimps and gorillas can stay far away from us at any point in the day if they so please. But the reason why I have trouble placing this is because it's a case of size isn't everything. It actually could pass as a decent elephant exhibit as is because it is so open. There's a lot of green, don't get me wrong, but there's no attempt to make either habitat look like a forest. There's almost no shade. A lot of zoo animals that have outdoor access are not allowed near tall foliage that's placed against a wall to, of course, prevent an escape. But here, there's so much emptiness that you could create a real large forest in the center and still have plenty of distance away from the barriers. I know it's not easy or cheap to ask for something like that, but I'm just thinking that a plan like that might be best for the apes. Number 8. The Dallas Zoo has one of the largest, one of the most diverse, and just all-around exciting African attractions ever. You have the giants of the savannah on one side, and an ensemble of treasures from the beaches, wetlands, forests, and more, and that includes 2 troops of gorillas. A bachelor group occupies one side and a family group on the other. Both habitats are virtually identical in many ways in terms of both size and lushness, and both are separated by an interpretive hut so you can see both troops at the same time. I do think it could use some more structures for climbing, but at least it's not just an empty flat field. Both sides are packed with rolling hills on top of thick vegetation, which is a perfect combination to create a little bit of privacy. And it created this really cool illusion as if the gorillas were showing up seemingly out of nowhere. Number 7. The gorilla exhibit at the Louisville Zoo opened in 2002. It's a long winding trail that takes you past and up close to a pygmy hippopotamus that's settled between 2 gorilla troops that have their own respective spaces. The first one that you'll encounter was structured with a decline that slopes away from us,
You can still see more of it from the bottom of the hill at the glass, but either way, it was angled so a large portion of the habitat isn't viewable. Not ideal for us, but I imagine it's great for its residents. The second yard is even larger, but it's a lot more open and easier to find the apes, especially inside the elevated observation deck. It actually reminds me of Columbus's, not on the outside, but on the inside. Both have a rotunda that puts you in the middle of their world. Except in Louisville, weather permitting, the gorillas have a choice to move between their day rooms and their larger outdoor exhibits. Plus, if they're in the right spot, it is possible to walk under them, since 2 of the day rooms are connected by an overhead tunnel. It's looking a little, I don't want to say outdated, but it's just a little tired aesthetically speaking. It is also very similar to Dallas's. Dallas gets the advantage since their gorillas can stay outside longer throughout the year, but I do think Louisville does just as well with privacy. They offer more chances to climb and have almost 2 times more space. So the two can be interchangeable on this list, but I think most days I would prefer to see Louisville's. Number 6. For being only 35 acres, the Lincoln Park Zoo managed to create a surprise around every corner. One of their greatest, let's say, achievements is the Center for Great Apes that rotates multiple troops of both gorillas and chimpanzees through 6 total public spaces, 3 outdoor and 3 indoor. For the outdoor habitats, the larger of the 3 is open-topped, while the other 2 are fully enclosed, which allows for maximum climbing opportunities since the apes can use the trees along with the walls and the ceiling. A lot of primate displays are filled with real but still hot-wired trees, and maybe 1 or 2 fake trees to try to make up for it. But I love how Lincoln Park did their best to fill in the empty space with as many man-made vines and trees as they could fit. The only disadvantage is the apes have to stay indoors for a good chunk of the year. But I noticed that they prefer to stay inside most of the time anyway, so it works out. And I don't blame them. While most indoor ape habitats are bare and filled with concrete, they have everything that they need inside. Natural substrate, overhead space, and they can cross from one far side of the room to the next without leaving the canopy. Number 5. The gorilla complex at Busch Gardens might not be number 1 objectively speaking, but it certainly without a doubt is the most stunning. The entire Mayombe Reserve is worthy of more praise than it receives. The trail opened in 1992 and has only gotten a lot better with age. According to an old article I found, that hill on the left is apparently 45 feet tall from the top to the bottom of the moat. So it's nice to see they can get a feel for some natural elevation. But I was more happy to just be able to see one in a tree. That shouldn't be a rare occurrence, but zoos also use hot wire to prevent the animals from destroying foliage, which sometimes I get, it's expensive, but it is nice to see that Busch Gardens is willing to take that risk. Overall, it also might not be as large in total outdoor space compared to what we've seen so far, but a lot of the previous selections had multiple habitats, while Busch Gardens just has 1. But it's so immersive and covers so much ground on its own. Occasionally, you need to play I Spy a Gorilla. Fortunately, from experience, at least 1 does hang out by the glass viewing most days. Number 4. Speaking of combined spaces, Zoo Atlanta has 4 of them. Because of the trees, it was impossible to get an exact measurement on Google Earth, but they all add up to be around 2 acres of total outdoor space, which should make it the largest gorilla-only focused complex in the United States. The African Forest exhibit opened in 1988 and hasn't aged as gracefully as Busch Gardens in terms of naturalism, but I'll give them a pass for its size. Now, you might say, well, that's not exactly fair to place this so relatively far over Detroit's if we are ranking these based on size. But the major differences are, 1, Atlanta's troop has access to more warm weather throughout the year. 2, the enrichment items are spread out to encourage the apes to maximize the use of their space. And 3, probably the most important one, it's far, far better shaded and vegetated. Number 3. The Houston Zoo, for some reason, claims they have the largest gorilla attraction in America, but that's definitely not true. There's 2 acres versus less than an acre. Still, that doesn't in any way change that the zoo created something special with this one. This was part of Phase 2 of the much larger African forest attraction. The habitat itself, doglegs along a glass viewing shelter, and a long elevated boardwalk. The left side is labeled as a meadow, while the right side is more forested, so this is where you can expect to pretty much always find them. The designers went with both functionality and a natural look, so you really can't see a single fence along the back barrier. There's an additional private outdoor enclosure, and in case you don't find them out here, there is a day room in the Great Ape Gallery. And the most unique feature, the gorillas share the main habitat with red river hogs. Because they're not the best climbers, the pigs cannot access the gorilla space, but the primates can say hello to the pigs up close whenever they want to. Number 2. The Bronx Zoo's Congo Gorilla Forest is arguably the greatest all-around animal attraction ever. From the museum quality education, the visitor experience, theming, and immersion, it's all nearly perfect. And the grand finale is the exhibit's namesake. 2 habitats, seemingly separated by a massive tree in the middle, creates a panorama that you will never forget. And it really, really is deserving of all its praise, with reportedly 14 or so individuals. I've been to zoos that have more gorillas than that, but I've never seen this many gathered in one spot, which makes this even more special and feel more natural. And it doesn't need to be said, but the forest looks like it just goes on forever. It makes you feel like you really left New York. One of the best features that you will ever find in any zoo, the tunnel that walks you out of the Congo, also at the same time puts you inside the family habitat, so the troop can surround you from almost every angle, which includes being able to walk right above you. I bet you all thought Bronx would be number 1, didn't ya? Well, I do think that Congo Gorilla Forest is the hemisphere's best African forest complex, and its gorilla exhibits would be number 1 if this list was based on our experience. But if we're looking at things from their perspective, I think the number 1 spot belongs to Disney's Animal Kingdom. The Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail has 2 public habitats. Both are very large compared to what we've covered, and as usual, one is for a family while the other is for bachelors. Now, I don't mean to bring something down in order to lift something up, but if we're comparing this to the one in New York, Bronx does have quite a bit of hot wire on the trees and around the edge of the forest, which is why it's able to stay so beautiful in the summer. I could not find any wiring or obstacles at Disney whatsoever, so it at least seems that the gorillas can access literally every square inch of what you see, which includes the small shrubs and very tall trees. Naturally, I was told that they do still kill the plants, but I was also reassured that Disney replaces everything that was eaten, trampled, or pulled that same evening or the next morning, something that most zoos cannot afford to do on a daily basis. As a bonus, the forest was this lush, but what you're looking at was filmed in January. So as you can guess, Disney's troops can be outside every single day year-round.